Hi, it's Kai. Number 10. Sperm whales. Wait a minute. Sleeping whales stand on their tails? Imagine being a diver and coming across a group of sperm whales, not swimming, but floating upright and motionless in the open sea. It's a rare occurrence, but occasionally pictures of such discoveries have been captured. A diver encountered a group of sperm whales napping together, all of them suspended, tails down in the water. Franco Banfree was free diving, underwater diving without a breathing apparatus, off the coast of Dominica, an island in the Caribbean Sea, when he witnessed 6 still and silent sperm whales drifting in their upright postures at a depth of about 65 feet. It looks kind of like a creepy whale seance, but this is how sperm whales sleep. They take a long, deep breath, dive down, and arrange themselves into a perfectly level vertical pattern. In 2008, a team of scientists from Scotland and Japan literally bumped into a group of sperm whales drifting vertically close to the surface of the water. The mammals were so immersed in a state called drift diving that they didn't even respond to the presence of a passing boat. By observing the whales, the researchers on board found that they spend just 7% of their day napping, for a burst of around 10 to 15 minutes each time. Such modest slumber makes sperm whales the species least needy of sleep on the whole planet. Humans would never be able to live like this. When we sleep, we do it for several hours at a time. The reason is that we are involuntary breathers, which means we can count on our ability to breathe automatically. Whales, on the other hand, have to think about every breath they take. Scientists believe they sleep with one eye open and half of their brain awake, not only to control their breathing, but also to ensure they can avoid predators, maintain social contact, or continue swimming. The phenomenon is called unhemispheric slow wave sleep and has also been recorded in whales living in captivity. Number 9. Flic-Flac spider. They see me rolling, they hatin'. What's that bouncing along the horizon? It's not a tumbleweed, that's for sure. It's a newly discovered Moroccan Flic-Flac spider. It's a very agile spider that somersaults down sand dunes. The dancing arachnid has been nicknamed the Flic-Flac spider for its gymnastic dexterity. I have to say, 2 thumbs up to the biologist that named this guy. The Flic-Flac spider takes no shortcuts when it comes to escaping predators. By using its entirely own energy, it can tumble uphill, downhill, and on ground level. They move about 6.5 feet per second, moving twice as fast than when it walks. As you can imagine, cartwheeling around like this can be extremely exhausting. For humans, we would probably need a week off if we spent just a couple hours moving like this. Unfortunately, the dry deserts of southern Morocco provide no such luxuries for the Flic-Flac spider. In fact, the exhaustion can be so great that it can sometimes cartwheel itself to death. This is definitely one fascinating 8-legged spider. Number 8. Fainting goats. One of the most bizarre behaviors displayed by goats is their sudden impulse to faint. Have you ever seen a goat do this? I mean, not all goats faint. Those that do exhibit this peculiar behavior are members of a special common domestic breed in the US. They go by a variety of names. Most often, you'll hear them referred to as myotonic goats or Tennessee fainting goats. Despite their name, these adorable fainting goats are not actually fainting when they exhibit their characteristic trait of freezing up and tumbling over. So, if it's not fainting, what is it? It has to do with the goat's brain. They have a genetic condition called myotonia congenital. This causes their muscles to stiffen up when they get scared, resulting in sudden, stiff-legged drops to the ground. Instead of tensing up for a split second and then relaxing, a fainting goat's muscles tend to stay tense, causing the goat to freeze and topple over. Curiously, they never actually lose consciousness during this. But it's not just fear from being startled that causes fainted goats to exhibit this behavior. It's also possible for them to faint over the excitement of a positive stimulus, like the prospect of a yummy snack. Some goats will faint on the way to their feeding dish. These cuties probably wouldn't last very long in the wild. Many wonder if this hurts the goats to faint, but rest assured, they're not in any pain. However, their condition does have the potential to distress them because it can keep them from running away from things that frighten them. So you never, ever want to deliberately scare them just to see them faint. That's mean. Have you ever seen a goat pass out? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're liking this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up and subscribe buttons if you haven't already. Number 7. Crows and exploding toads. In 2011, in Germany's Hamburg's Altona district, some 1,000 toads puffed up 4 times their normal size and exploded. Scientists and health officials were not only perplexed, but extremely concerned. What was happening? The site was dubbed the Pond of Death, and the media jumped at the opportunity to spread hype, warning people to keep their children and dogs away at all costs. People started to theorize about what caused the amphibians to burst. Some wondered if the toads were killing themselves, while others entertained the possibility that they had contracted a virus that South American racehorses were spreading through the region. Amphibian expert Frank Muchman solved the case after examining both living and dead specimens and found identical circular incisions on their backs. Their injuries were the handiwork of crows, who had evidently plunged their beaks into the animals with an insatiable craving for their livers. Muchman pointed out that the crows are smart enough to understand that the toad's skin is toxic, prompting them to go after the only part they perceive as edible. He explained that the toads only know they've been attacked after their livers were removed, at which point they inflate as a defense mechanism against their predator. With no liver to contain the rest of their insides, the amphibians' lungs expand disproportionately, causing them to explode and spill their remaining organs. Ew. Because the toads exploded during mating season, Muchman surmised that the crows had taken advantage of their distraction, adding that the pecking would have been noticeable, but not particularly painful. This wasn't the first time toads had died en masse in Germany and elsewhere, including Belgium, Denmark, and the US. And while seeing so many dead creatures is understandably alarming, Muchman put the event into a few simple words, stating, "It's just part of nature." Another curious and odd behavior of crows is their ability to apparently recognize human faces. Yep, they'll see your face and remember it. And if they think you've been a bit of a jerk to them, they'll make you regret it. Yes, you heard that right. Crows can hold grudges. You have been warned. Number 6. Bloody horned lizard. It's a dangerous world out in nature, so animals have to develop good defenses. For the little horned lizard, danger is plentiful in the desert. Hawks, roadrunners, bobcats, wolves, all kinds of animals want to eat them. And I don't know if you've ever seen a lizard run, but they aren't very fast. About 5 inches long, with a crown of horns like a dinosaur, the horned lizard's molted skin helps it to camouflage and blend in with their environment. This is a reptile that can very easily take care of itself. When a hungry predator comes its way, the horned lizard defends itself by squirting blood from its eyes at its opponent. Yeah, gross. Horned lizards have a way of exerting pressure within its body to actually build up packets of blood. Then they squirt the blood stored up at the predator. Believe it or not, this is a twofold attack. The first is visual, as it will make the predator think that something is wrong with the lizard. And in a way, it is right in that assumption. And the other reason is being as a deterrent, as the blood itself has a very potent taste. If the lizard is able to project the blood into the predator's mouth, they'll get a nasty taste, and they'll usually run away in disbelief. It may sound disgusting, but in the animal kingdom, you need to use whatever is at your disposal in order to stay alive. So, for this lizard, that means shooting blood through its eyes at enemies. Again, gross. Number 5. Animal tears. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, a bird sleeps tonight, and then a beautiful butterfly shows up to drink its tears. Wait, what? That's not how the song goes. On a research expedition in the forest along Solimões River in central Amazonia, an ecologist named Leandro Moraes came across a scene that is part fairy tale, part horror movie, and just straight up weird. In the dead of night, he gazed upon a moth perched on the neck of a slumbering black-chinned antbird. With its wee little nose extended, the dusty winged creature gently slurped up the tears of the sleeping bird. 45 minutes later, he witnessed another moth feasting on the tears of a different bird. Luckily for us, the ecologist was able to document the creepy and cool late-night snack. In fact, it's been discovered that moths and butterflies drink all kinds of animal tears. Crocodiles, turtles, any creature shedding a tear. So, what exactly is going on here? Scientists think it's a way of obtaining salt, an essential nutrient that isn't present in nectar and can be hard to find elsewhere. Sure, it's easy for us to just eat some salty chips or something, but moths and butterflies don't have that luxury. Instead, they drink animal tears. However, rivers in the Amazon can have plenty of salt in them, so perhaps the moths and butterflies are actually getting protein from the tears. No one is really sure. Number 4, killer whales. In May 2017 in South Africa, in the Western Cape Province, 4 dead great white sharks washed up on the shores. But strangely, they were all missing their livers and other organs. Great white sharks are apex predators, especially around South Africa, where a lot of attacks have been reported. So what would, or could, do this to an ocean creature at the top of the food chain? After some research, it was revealed that the culprits were killer whales. These whales are known to be rivals for sharks, but aren't documented attacking great whites like this. However, researchers say it's not unprecedented, and that the orcas are known to go after the livers of creatures when they hunt and kill. Other parts of the sharks were missing too, including their stomachs at times and even their reproductive organs. While one mystery was solved, another began. Because reports of this happening are rare, it makes us wonder why the killer whales decided to randomly go after these sharks, and whether more sharks are having this happen to them across the globe where these two species share territories. Does this mean that killer whales are now at the top of the food chain? Number 3, thirsty giraffes. Some women track their cycles to figure out when they're ovulating. This can help a woman figure out a good time to get pregnant, or not to get pregnant. Well, animals do the same thing. Giraffes, in particular, go about it in a much weirder and grosser way. The male giraffe whacks the female a few times until she has to pee. Then, the male will, drink her urine. If the female is fertile, her urine will be flavored with certain hormones that the male can taste. Gross. If he tastes hormones that he likes, he'll then try to mate with her. The female giraffe will actually walk away from him for a few days and make him wait until she's ready. Female giraffes carry for 13 to 15 months until the baby falls out and onto the ground. The babies are usually up and running just a few hours after being born. Number 2, anglerfish romance. Let's keep the romance going, but let's head back to the ocean. When you think of an anglerfish, you probably think of its giant mouth full of gnarly teeth and the glowing lure bobbing from its head. The Finding Nemo scene probably comes to mind. These fish are nightmares. If Sex and the City took place in the ocean, the male deep-sea anglerfish would definitely be Charlotte. He spends his entire life looking for the one, because while there may be plenty of fish in the sea, the deep is vast, and lady anglerfish are few and far between. Kind of like suitable men in New York City, apparently. So, after the male anglerfish spends all this time looking for the love of his life, he gets more than a little clingy. He bites her stomach with his super sharp teeth and then never lets go. Over time, the male physically fuses with the female, connecting to her skin and bloodstream and losing his eyes and all of his internal organs except the testes in the process. At that point, the male has achieved his life goal to become a sack of gonads. Number 1, mantis shrimp. The itty-bitty mantis shrimp needs bulletproof aquariums because it can pack a punch through regular glass. This small creature packs an incredible punch with 200 pounds of force. Yeah, this small fry is tougher than most humans. And that's not all. The punch from this shrimp is so fast and powerful that for just a moment, it heats the water around its claw, raising the temperature so hot it's comparable to the surface of the sun. Why does it have such an intense and violent superpower? Well, it's to break animal shells so the shrimp can eat what's inside. Thanks for watching. Which one of these animal behaviors do you think is the weirdest? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye.